podcast of the day.
I know, first podcast. What brings us? First of all, where are we at?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. What's up, Austin?
YA Studio.
Why did we choose Austin?
So it's a tech conference this weekend. Afrotech conference, brought out all the black creatives and technologists. So that's why we're here. On set.
The big party, Afrotech.
The big party.
We're gonna get into that a little later.
Yes.
A party.
Okay, I want to see. But okay, why are we here? What are we doing? And what's the name of the show, Loli?
Man, that's a great question. First, I would say, why are we here? Or matter of fact, let's answer the first question. What's the name of the show? The show is called Social Currency Show. Now, what is social currency? Well, I know when people think about social currency, they probably think about, oh, how can my friends pay me for something? Or how can I get money from somebody else? Right. But that's not really what social currency is. Social currency is actually developing relationships with people in your network, and that can transform into different forms of currency, which can be money, social status, clothes, appearances, being flown out just because. I'm just being serious. Like that's what social currency is.
So we should all be baddies, is what you're saying.
I wouldn't say all be baddies, but we can all be, stand up and quality people.
I agree with that. And our bridge comes through tech, venture, and entertainment.
Exactly.
So we're gonna educate you guys on what it is to be a technologist, cool software that's coming out, shit that we're building, stuff that other folks are building. We're gonna let you get a little peek into the venture capital world, what's going on there. Venture funding is at an all-time high right now. And then the entertainment pieces, I have a background in media and entertainment. There's a lot there. Entertainment pieces from athletes and sports, entertainment from an artist perspective, like where they're putting their funds and their money and how can they grow and scale their businesses from a technology standpoint and leverage venture. So this is going to be very interesting conversations that we're going to have with you guys.
I think so too, and you hit the nail on the head. I think, especially with the entertainment industry, when it comes to, I don't want to get too much into it, but when it comes to investing, I think the entertainers, or they haven't been exposed to different forms of investing or how to diversify their portfolio, especially like into tech. And tech is where you probably get like the highest ROI than any other industry. So, kind of introducing that to entertainers, I think will be helpful. And it's also cool too, because they can incorporate it into their daily products and daily services or their shows. Just getting more familiar with how you can utilize the technology to your advantage, I think is what people really need to focus on, instead of saying like the harm that it can maybe cause. Like, yes, we have to be aware of that, but let's try to look at the positives and create positive solutions out of, the technology we have access to.
Yeah, focus on the positive. I think that's what we want to emphasize and we want to focus on. And you just stated, there are some potential harmful effects that technology can cause, but we want to focus on the positive and how we can bring everything together, the entertainment, the culture, and still keep that relevancy and that emphasis on culture, because I think that's what's lacking in like venture and tech and everything that we're doing. So yeah, let's kick it off with a bang.
And kick off nice and a little
sprinkles.
A little sprinkle of something else just to add, just that little narrative changer. Like, this is not typical conversation. Typically when you hear like a recording artist or an athlete or someone in sports, it's the same old business types. We're partnering with this brand will give us partnerships. Hey, we're going to do a tour. We're going to sell some merchandise. That's all played out. Mm-hmm. We're going into 2024. It's a new age. You have to leverage technology. It's coming in spurts, but folks don't truly understand. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fluff, especially when you hear big terms like AI. Right?
Exactly.
We won't get into that right now, but the way we'll discuss with you guys, you'll see what we're saying.
Yeah, I think you hit it. You hit it right on the head. Honestly, I can't even, like, technology is the future, and if you don't, join in, or if you don't, understand, unfortunately, I don't want to say this, but you're going to get left behind. But because it's just natural evolution of the world. Like, right. We're living in a different world than it is even 4 years ago. Think about 2020 and think about 2024 right now. It's completely different. Like, everything is just completely different. So adopting technology and kind of just understanding where you fit in, so I think is really important.
let's pivot a little bit. This is where you fit in. Let's kind of go into entertainment a little bit. You guys went to a concert last week. I want to kind of talk about the concerts you guys went to, the artists you saw, and where you think they can go in like the tech space and things like that.
Okay, so first we saw Burna Boy. Shout out to PH City.
PH City.
Calabar Boy.
PH
Oh, yeah, you got the
City.
shirt on. Yeah, phenomenal concert. We saw
City.
Burna Boy in New York. He sold out. May history sold out City Field, so that's already historic and he's already accomplished. But this concert in LA, it was good. I thought it was a little bit short, but that's him. He does his thing, and where he can go, where he can take it, who knows?
Wait. Let's take a step back though. Who's Burna Boy for folks who don't know, not familiar with the genre of music?
You don't know Burna
There's a couple
Boy?
songs.
Are you under a rock?
Listen to
Are
it.
you under a rock? You don't know Burna Boy?
Yeah, if you don't know Burna Boy, then
We got
you have.
Last.
Yeah.
We got
City
you
Boys.
the fans. You super. You know
Yeah,
what
I mean, if you don't know Burna Boy, then you just missing out on good music. Like it's not even about the antics, or it's not even about the jewelry or nothing. It's about quality, feel good music that make you want to dance, and that's what everybody was doing at BMO Stadium in LA when we seen Burna. I had one of my homegirls tell me, she was like, "Man, I didn't expect to be shaking my ass this much at the Burna Boy concert." I'm like, that's what we do. We like having fun. Like we like dancing. We like having a good time, and we just like enjoying. Like we literally like enjoying. Like if you know, Burna Boy comes from Nigeria. We also from Nigeria as well too. We come from impoverished circumstance, or we live in poverty. So the only thing we do to escape that is to have a good time, because our real reality is not the reality that anybody would really want to be in. So I think that's why
not everybody lives in poverty.
But yeah, not everybody,
so we're
but
trying to make everybody more accessible for everybody.
We want to make that more accessible for everybody. So, that enjoyment is where it comes from, is that where it stems from, is just like, the struggle, I guess. And just let's have fun. Even though we may struggle, we got to also celebrate, because it's a privilege to be struggling, if that makes sense.
But let's talk about the city, how the diversity that Burna Boy brings out. He brings out the city.
That's
all different
true.
walks of life, all different cultures. You met somebody from Panama?
I never been to a concert where it was literally people from all different cultures, backgrounds, race, color, whatever you look like. He had people from Belize, India, Panama. Where else was it? It was just all over the world. I've never seen it before.
That's pretty amazing. Though.
I have never seen it before, and everybody just having a good time.
Afrobeats artist.
Indian dude singing his heart out,
Literally
behind us. I'm like, yo, okay, buddy. Like,
exactly.
it's crazy.
Just having a good time, and that's like what the music is about. It's just about having a good time and promoting unity, no matter what you look like or where you come from.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I take from Burna. Like, I think he's probably gonna end up being a generational artist just from that aspect alone. He came out. The way he came out. You could tell his influence. He came out like a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Like he came out with some like 50 Cent. You could tell he has all these influences. But then when he gets to his core of music, he's like so cultural and so all encompassing. Everybody can connect with it.
Yeah, his shows are like theater.
Exactly.
Especially the way he opens the show. The way he opens the show, it's very cinematic. He'll have the old African instrumentation.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in.
I think that's what I think that's what separates him, is because that feel. When you see somebody playing those instruments on stage, you feel it. It's like you feel it in your soul when you're at the concert. I don't know what it is, but even when you're just regularly listening to music, but when you're at the concert, it's just a different feel, because obviously it's live music, the live band, but it's just, man, everybody had a good time, like, and that's what it's about. I don't think there was nobody there that I talked to that went to the concert that said they didn't enjoy themselves, and that's what it's about. If you can go to an event and everybody says like, hey, they enjoyed themselves, we need to find that secret recipe so we can keep it going. So every event, everybody enjoys themselves.
That's a fact. And I think that's the thing that's kind of lacking in hip hop now, is that instrumentation that you were talking about. And he does that so well. And I think all the Afrobeats artists, I think that's why they're taking over the world.
That's a different conversation for another day for hip hop in general. But I think Afrobeat artists right now and folks overseas are a little bit ahead.
Mm-hmm.
folks want to argue that.
But I'll say, but you know who's really international, who's really doing her thing? You know, I got to give credit to BIA, man. BIA, she is big business BIA, man. Like, she's so dope. Like, I never met a down to earth person, you know, that's, you know, in the position that she's in and just still finds ways to just be humble. Like, that's very commendable. No matter how big you could get or how you're continuing to grow, and you're still, you know, relatable to the average everyday person.
Bia's a little bit underrated in the space. I think she's a rapper. Like, she actually
definitely is a rapper.
Her
she got a couple bars.
Good.
She got a couple bars.
She doesn't. She got a couple bars. She don't.
Only.
Her look and branding is a little bit different from other female rappers in the space right now. I don't know who I would consider the best female rapper out. So I don't want to even go.
Nah.
Yeah, it's not even. It's not a competition.
Right. That's a good thought. But like, her marketing or how big she is to me is still a little bit confusing. Like, I think she should be a little bit of a bigger artist.
I agree.
Based off her talent, her look, and her personality.
Mm-hmm.
Right, those are things or factors that folks gravitate to. I think that she still has like a ways to go from a music perspective. But we'll go circle back to Burna Boy. But her latest album, forget like the music aside. Do you think she could pivot into like a tech sector or kind of get pushed out in a way from a technical perspective?
I think she wants to. Just from our little interaction with her, brief interaction with her, I think she's definitely in tune with the tech space, wants to learn more about it. Like you said, her personality is effervescent, so she could definitely benefit from it and definitely contribute to it. So what do you think?
No, definitely. I think piggybacking off everything he's saying, she definitely has the talent, and she has the motivation, and she has the drive. And I think that's what people need, and just anything that you want to pursue. Like, just have like a little passion, and everything is going to be unknown, especially when you're like going into like a new business or a new venture or just something new. It's going to be unknown, but that's when we actually learn the most, and that's when we actually grow the most, is when we actually step into the unknown. So at least from my experience, you know, I can speak for myself. Like, I think the most success has come to me when I've actually stepped into the unknown and just like said, hey, you know what? Let it just happen.
Yeah, I also think too, kind of like saying, well, she's a recording artist, she's touring, how can she collaborate with like tech companies, right? I can see her kind of wearing wearables, things like sunglasses,
wearable technology.
Yeah, the wearable space is still coming about, but outside of Apple, it's still not cool. It's not considered cool to wear wearables. Like, you saw the Google Glass Pixel a couple years ago. It failed, right? No one bought it. The price point. Apple's doing the AR, the vision stuff. Well, it's not technically a wearable, but like even your headphones, right? Those are considered wearables. The Ray-Ban glasses that Facebook just launched, like, is that who can take that? Like, from it, you know, you see, I can see someone like a BIA wearing Meta's glasses and it being a thing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why we're here. Let's talk about that bridge. That could happen, and that could take off.
And that can take her career to the next level. Because now what people don't realize too is that technology companies are running everything. And the reason why they're running everything is because they have the balance sheets to run everything. They invested a long time ago, and now they're reaping the benefits of their investments. So they have the balance sheets to fund new businesses, to help startups, or to do partnerships to big up existing brands or help out new brands. And I think with strategic partnerships with entertainers and tech companies, we could bridge that gap. Because another experience that I could speak to is, you know, when I went to a tech conference in 2019, and probably like one of the best moments is it's called Oracle Open World. You can go check it out online when you get a chance. And it was probably like one of the best things or best conferences I went to. But one thing I did notice was, you know, the cultural aspect from, I guess, our community, you would say, and how can we unify that more with tech? And I think, you know, having people like us talk about it openly, just tell people what we're doing, tell people that we're collabing with, tell people who we're working with, and show like, hey, this is cool too. Like, I know we all want to be rappers. I know we all want to play basketball, play football, or play sports. But, you know, the world is a lot bigger than just sports and entertainment. And really, if the way the world is going, sports and entertainment is going to be enabled through
technology.
So you have to know the technology to be able to be enabled in
sports, yeah,
and entertainment. So you gotta start understanding the technological advancements in that part, and then incorporate it.
But is that on tech or is it on the consumer?
Both. I think tech has to tell a better story, because that's where tech struggles. I think tech struggles in being a good storyteller to the consumer, particularly. It's more just about like status. Like, that's why everybody gets like the new iPhone or the new Apple Watch. It's like, oh, because it's Apple. It's like a status thing. It's not really like focusing on the benefits of like the Apple Watch. Like, they're starting to do that now. They're starting to do that now, but more before it was like a status thing. Like, people were getting new iPhones or upgrading every year because it's like a status thing. I just spent this money.
That's big business. But you know who was the good storyteller?
Steve Jobs, who created
Afrotech too.
But Afrotech too.
So I want to get into. I want to get into it, Darren.
Okay.
Your experience from Afrotech. This is your second time coming, right?
It's my second year coming in. So unfortunately, the guys didn't make it out.
It's good.
Conference.
We just missed it.
We just missed it.
So
had to go see BIA and Burna Boy.
Word.
Show some love to the artists.
So I'll be messenger for today. A couple of things about the conference. So a little background. Last year was actually my first year attending tech conferences. I've been in tech for 7-8 years now, and that was my first time. I've been to like panels in the city and stuff like that, but never like an actual conference. I went to TechCrunch last year. It was amazing. It's focused on startup founders. Great space. We'll talk about that at another time, but we're building out apps and software, right? We're going to become founders, and being in that environment, very healthy in terms of growth as someone in tech. Learning from everybody else. Not super diverse in terms of folks who are there, but still great learnings.
Experiences.
Right? Now, that diversity piece a little bit, kind of going to Afrotech, we're around Black people in technology, which doesn't happen every day. Everyone who works in tech has the same story. I'm one of 2 people who work on my team at the company. It's funny and then not funny at the same time. But we won't get into that too much. But the conference itself, bringing all those people together who are in different areas of technology, right? Lo and I are in the product management space, which is honestly software development, working closely with the engineers and designers, right? But there's other folks who are in like product marketing, folks who are in sales, technology sales, technical sales. There's so many different areas of tech, back-end engineers. So it's like you're with everybody, right? So then from a conference perspective, there's, of course, panels, right? All conferences have panels. Conferences now have expanded into having more like happy hours, having companies throw events. So what I actually, coming out this year, last year I did a lot of panels at Afrotech, and I went to TechCrunch again this year, and I felt like I got what I needed.
That's
from
good.
a knowledge perspective, seeing what's coming out down the line in technology. And I was like, I want to network with folks who look like me. I want to see what they're working on. I want to visit the companies that are based in Austin. Right? I got to go to the Canva office, got to go to Addison, I got to go to Cloudflare.
We got to go to Yacht Studio.
Yes.
Shout out to Yacht Studio. Or YA Studio.
So it's kind of great to kind of be in the offices, speak to the folks who are working there, speak to recruiters, their different tech teams. I find that very valuable. And then, of course, Afrotech has the happy hour and then parties as well.
Right? No. That is Afrotech. That's
right.
That's what we do. We work, but we also play hard too.
So
we work hard, but we play harder.
Let's dive into that a little bit. So on Twitter, there's a couple viral tweets going at Afrotech just for the vibes.
Okay, talk about it.
Let's talk about that. Like, I understand. Like, so matter of fact, to even answer that, I think we have to pose a question.
Okay.
When you go to a conference, or you're thinking about going to a conference, or you're thinking about going to any sort of gathering session, what are you looking to get out of it?
Connections. Someone who can help me build something. A great example of that is this podcast wouldn't exist if I didn't go to an event. That's how I met Damiente at a tech event.
Tech Week. Shout out to New York Tech Week. The last event of the week, I met my man Darren. We headed off. We spoke to some investors, and then we just kept going to events, and getting vibing and building, and we're here today with the social currency show.
And even on a small scale, we went to see a panel, and did I find the panels were valuable? No. I walked away
with value.
That's,
so I think what then that question, then the reason why I asked that question is because it kind of leads into this. So people were talking about how they felt like Afrotech was a money grab. So if you feel like something is a money grab, when you see the value of something, how do you extract the value that's quoted when you go to pay for something?
I think I want to bucket it in two parts. I want to say the first part is, why are you going? Why are you going to the conference? Like, if you can't answer that question for yourself, you probably shouldn't go to the conference. And then what type of person are you? Like, are you voiceful? Like, are you able to go up to people and talk? It's a conference. Are you going with friends? You're going to go try to meet friends. Like, that's all going to dictate your experience. You see what I'm saying? And like, I know some of the feedback was the panels were shorter. Couldn't get into some of the panels like Issa Rae. And I felt that. I'm like, all right, yeah, if I paid, I wanted to see Issa Rae, I can't see her, I live in a particular city that she hasn't been to, I would have been pretty upset as well. And that's, I think from the logistics side, Afrotech can figure that out. But I also feel like, did you make a connection? Did you find something valuable? Again, what type of person are you? Are you a founder? Are you an investor? Are you just a worker? You're just trying to get a job? You just want to be in the space? You see what I'm saying? Like, where do you kind of fit in?
What role are you trying to play?
Yeah, because someone like me may have a better time because I'm a builder. I'm looking for engineers. I'm looking for folks who are maybe in the entertainment media space or creative. Like, and to me, that's great. I could just meet with a photographer and I'm happy. You know, like,
True.
If that's not,
It's important.
if that's not you as a person, then you probably didn't have a good time. Folks who are saying things around the technical aspect of Afrotech in terms of learning, I do agree that the panels aren't the strongest, but guess what? This is actually a black conference, and there's no black people in technology for real. Like, the percentages, don't have them in front of me, but they're not that high. So if you're talking about folks who are like VPs or running C-suites, there's not tons of them, right? It's the same roadshow of folks who are in that level doing all the conferences. They can't do it every year. So yeah, the panels aren't going to be as strong. But it's kind of up to folks who attend to kind of give back a little bit. If you're progressing in your career, or you got a job that you think is super valuable, and you've learned something or built something that's really worth telling folks about, that's you contributing back, and it'll make the panel stronger. But that's the only reason I don't go too hard about the panels not being super strong, is that in reality, there's not. If you go to a TechCrunch or a Cloudflare or a different type of conference, I guarantee you'll see sprinkles. So even if those conferences don't have black folks talking at it, you have one or two, why would you think that coming to Afrotech you're going to get it's going to be high impact panels every year?
Yeah.
It's not. It's going to lack in that area, and that's okay. It's for us to keep it going every year after year.
Yeah, you just got to focus on growth. Exactly. Just focus on growth. It's new. It's new to people. You know, there's, like you said, there's not many of people that look like us in the industry. And it's okay, but we have to grow. We have to continue to grow our skill sets, grow our knowledge, grow our mindset, and you'll be able to succeed. And you'll be able to make that transition. And it's not as bad as you think. The transition is not as hard as you think. And if you are passionate and you like to learn, there's going to be a lot of people there to support you. That's something I personally experienced in my journey into transitioning into the tech industry.
We could talk about the price too. I don't want to leave that out. Folks said it was a little bit pricey. When I was buying my ticket, I was like, "Ooh, it went up a little bit from last year." I think I got an executive ticket last year, and I got a general admissions this year. It was, I feel like, almost the same price. So I kind of get that, like, I'm paying almost a stack. What am I getting for a stack? You know, so I sympathize with that a little bit. But then compared to other conferences,
it's actually not that bad, because we were looking.
I remember Revolt conference was like a stack, and I was like years ago.
Revolt?
Yeah, remember that the Diddy and they had like they used to have the Revolt. I don't even think they still do it, but they used to do it. It used to be a big deal. It used to be like 1,000.
Yeah, but so that goes to show you. So like, it's still not that bad compared to these other conferences that happen. So like the other conferences that we were talking about that happen is something like a Dreamforce Dreamforce.
AWS event's like $2,000.
Like it's either $2,500 or watch it at home.
Yeah.
It's literally those two choices.
Yeah.
So it's like, what people have to realize too is, like you said, go back to, if I'm going to go in person, why am I going to go in person? And then you also have to think, you have to ask yourself, how are my interpersonal skills? Personal skills. I think I said it right. Or interpersonal
entrepreneurship skills.
Yeah, interpersonal entrepreneurship skills. Can you speak to anybody? Can you talk about your product to anybody? Can you go up to anybody? Right. Those are things that you need to be able to do, especially if you want to be a business owner, because who's going to push your business better than you?
Yeah.
Nobody. You have to push your business. You literally have to push your own business. So you have to think like that. And if you're going to be spending that type of money, you have to have that type of confidence and get the most out of it when you get in person, because you're not going to get the ROI that you're expecting if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to pay $2,000 to go to Dreamforce or Amazon reInvent, and then my life is going to be better all of a sudden. No, there has to be a little strategy behind it. Obviously a little bit of luck, and obviously there has to be intention behind what you're doing.
Or you have to be willing to invest in yourself too.
Yeah.
And that's why you have people like Robert Smith pulling up, who's big in investing.
I caught that panel. It's like one of the only ones I went to, but I found value in it.
Tell us about it.
He said what I wanted to hear.
What did he say?
He kind of confirmed the things you were thinking already.
Yeah, he did.
What was Robert saying?
So back on, like, again, we're going to thrive and become founders, right? And owners and things like that. We work in technology. We're high paid laborers, right?
That's true.
It's kind of like, it's a good thing, right? Like if you want to just work and save your money and live that kind of life, that's nothing wrong with that. But I have bigger aspirations. And it's like, well, how do I get on the other side of the equation is what he was saying. He was on the high paid laborer side, and how can I become on the owner side? Because that's where the millions of dollars are coming in, right? He wouldn't be a billionaire if he stayed on the left.
This is a big point here.
So he would still be, we probably would know who he is, right? There are tons of folks everywhere who scale up companies. They make a lot of money, never hear about them, right? No impact or brought people in. What type of person are you? It's okay being a high paid laborer, but identify who you are. I know I'm on the right. I want to be on the right.
He said, I want to
be on the right side.
You don't want the crumbs. I want a piece of the pie.
Again, nothing wrong with that. You can be somebody like, I just want this job. I got this skill set, and I'm going to do this for the next 20 years. There's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. And that's sustainable. That's sustainable. I mean, it's sustainable in a sense that you have like comfortability, I guess you would say, but not comfortability. I would say security. That's the word I'm looking for. You have that little security. I know everybody looks for that, but like I said, sometimes the best things in life come from stepping into the unknown.
Yeah. And not everybody's a business owner, right? Not
that's true too.
Cut out to do it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Wants to do it.
And you have to identify.
We're not saying like you got to be on the right side. I'm just saying the point of the conversation is it's good to think about.
Which side are you on? Who do you resonate more with? Which side are you more fulfilling on? Because some people don't want to be the boss. Some people don't want that responsibility. There's too much responsibility. Why do I have to be the one that has to keep everybody in check, keep everybody on time, send out payroll, do all those type of things? Some people just be like, yo, you know what? I'm a good ass coder. I know how to code this shit. Or I'm a good ass designer. I'm gonna design this shit. I'm a good ass speaker. I'm gonna just keep speaking. Like, whatever you're just good at, identify it and just master it and keep honing in on it.
No, because if you're on the left and you have that valuable skill set, you're gonna be valued for the next 20 years, 30 years in your career.
Exactly.
So there's nothing wrong. You're helping make those billions of dollars, and there's again nothing wrong with that. But I kind of want the bins in my bank account. So again, I want to be on the right. That's just me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think there could be a lot more. There's a lot more to desire about the pay structure in these companies. I think that's something that needs to be explored and improved upon, in my opinion.
Definitely more equity, especially if you're a high paid laborer or a laborer. if you're to me personally, I'm glad you even brought this up, because to me personally, I personally really believe if you're working for a company and they're your work is contributing to their bottom line, that's bringing in a lot of money, and you're just like on a salary and you don't get any of that like increase, I feel like that's kind of like messed up. You know, that's a little messed up, especially if I'm like contributing, like if I'm an individual contributor and you're just like the C-suite guy, but you're able to make the gains of my work. It's kind of like backwards a little bit if we think about it, because you're just the guy that signs things and pushes everything, but I'm the one that's actually building the product.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pivot real quick off of that.
Okay.
Getting equity when you work for companies. Some folks get equity in their compensation packages depending on the type of role you have at a tech company. But in sports, that's kind of tough. I want to go. I'm Warriors.
I like
fan,
that.
Yeah, we're gonna pivot real quick to the Warriors.
Okay.
Real quick, just kind of touch on this because this makes a lot of sense. Stephen Curry is drafted in I think 2008, 2009. The Warriors were not $1 billion franchise, right? They're now worth like almost $9 billion.
See where you're going.
His first couple of contracts are like, I think the first one was like $40 million. The second one, I don't remember. And then the last one is like 250 or something like that, right? And of course, he has his Under Armour partnerships, which is great. Dude, $9 billion? You guys are worth $9 billion today
because of him.
I sold out the stadium for the last 10 years. I got you guys 4 championships. Stephen Curry should be a billionaire already,
or at least have some sort of equity in the team because of what he's contributed.
You said
and it's fair. And it's fair. And it's fair. It's fair. It's not even like a thing that should be a negotiation. And if it turns into a negotiation, that's just the owners not wanting to, you know, basically celebrate your high paid workers.
That's not that. They don't want to set that precedent, because once you do that, then everybody's going to be asking for that. I mean, equity in the that you know how you nip that in the butt. You know how you nip everybody asking? Put it behind performance. You perform, you could get equity.
And longevity.
Consistency. You know what I'm saying?
Consistency.
So it's not like okay, you can just come to my organization and play good for 2 years and now you get an ownership stake. No, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. But Steph Curry, that's a good example, because he's been with the organization for so long.
That's a perfect example.
That's a good example.
But you know, they said Caleb Williams was asking for, so allegedly asking for equity stake in any team that wants to draft an NFL. I don't know if you follow college football. The USC quarterback is supposed to be this old-time prospect. They said one of his demands or requests is asking for equity stake.
See, that's a little.
He hasn't even been
too soon
to the combine.
Yeah, it's a little bit too soon. Yeah, it's a little bit too soon.
That's like
he's thinking right.
Yeah,
but he's thinking right a little too soon. But he's thinking right though.
Yeah, that's like Wembanyama asking for stake right now in the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, no, you gotta prove something first.
Hold on, bro.
Yeah, you gotta prove something first.
I don't want to risk any injuries on the boy, but you can get hurt next week. You know, and that can shift your career.
Steph had early
he did
injuries,
but it's like after a certain time frame, right? After championship number 1 or championship number 2, championship number 3, number 4, I hit these milestones. That's when we can start sitting down and saying, you guys were worth $200 million when we started, and now you're worth $9 billion. That's when I feel like the conversation can start. I don't think guys who sign 5-year deals, $200 million, just because you're a franchise guy, should get equity. I think it should be on like after 7, 8 years you've been with the team, because a lot of you see how what James Harden's doing, see KD, they move a lot. It would benefit the player to get equity from each of these teams as they move, but
from the team standpoint,
where would that leave the owner? So I don't want to be one-sided here and say the player.
No, I completely agree with that.
Off rip, but yeah, if you've been with the team for almost 10 years and you've proven yourself, and we can go back and look at your ticket sales previously to me coming to the team and after, your ratings on TV, if we have nationally televised game, we can like sit down and just go through shit and say, yeah.
But I think that approach is even better, because that will also weed out the people that are really about ownership and understand the value of ownership and equity. Because if you're telling a person to sit down and, hey, we're gonna talk about sales revenue from 2010 to 2023, and we're gonna talk about how you impacted that, A lot of people got finance guys, especially these rich NBA guys and NFL sports. They're not handling this on a day to day. They got people doing that for them. So you can't. We also can't just be like equity, and then you have no idea what equity even is. So what are we even? What are we? You can't talk about, oh, I want equity, and then say, hey, call Brandon, my finance guy. You can talk to him about what equity is. That doesn't make any sense.
No, you're right.
No, you have to be invested. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. If you want equity in something, you have to be invested in it. So you have to put in the work. It's not just the, oh, yes, I'm going to bring in $15 million extra this year or this quarter. No, bro, like, we've been doing this for 20 years, bro. We've been making $15 million a year for 15 years. Like, no, there's more into it than just the numbers. You get what I mean?
Because sports is moments sometimes. When people get hot, they play hot, they're hot for a few years, and then they have a decline. Right? That's why there's a Hall of Fame. That's why there's top players in the league. And I view the league now, like, especially just to touch on the NBA, as consistency. Who's been consistent? Or he's been even players who are not necessarily superstars, like a CJ McCollum when he was in Portland, right? I don't know Portland's value before drafting him and before they traded him, but that's someone in terms of from an intelligence standpoint, the way he carries himself, I would give equity to.
That's fact. And look,
he's the type of player that I would give equity to for a team. Even if I traded him away, you've been here for at least 8 years. I know it didn't work out. We couldn't win. I'm gonna give you a little something.
Yeah, and he's actually a good example because I think, isn't he like the president of the Players Association?
Yeah, I think he took over for Chris Paul.
Yeah,
I might be wrong on that, though.
I'm not 200% sure, but
and he's a J. Cole fan.
so you know that he's invested. He's interested. Like, that's just like something that he's naturally interested. So those are the type of people that's going to separate themselves to probably qualify for those type of things if it was to happen. Those type, like obviously like the LeBrons, like those people that are like really have that business acumen and have that business interest. A lot of these players don't even care about the business. They're like, yo, I'm making hella bread playing ball. Like, I don't care about the business. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, yo, I don't care about the business. I'm getting paid good playing ball. You know what I mean? I don't really care about the business aspect.
A lot of guys is wild young too now.
That too. So you got to think about it. You're coming into wealth at a younger age. Especially these guys in the NBA, they're coming in their money at like 18, 19.
Yeah.
You need to have a plan. You need to be into the business because that we was even talking about this the other day. Actually, it's 2 stats. I'll give you 2 stats. When is the actual financial peak for a man in life?
I have no idea.
It's 50 years old. In your 50s, that's when a man is the peak of where he'll make the most money. What's the peak for an athlete? That the athletes will make the most money?
20, maybe 23 to 30.
Yeah,
After that, it's straight like this.
That's a good point because you'll see a lot of former NBA players who are not, and this is maybe the bad thing about entertainment. You'll see like the Rick Fox or Shaq or those guys you were more celebrities in the league. Necessarily they were high players, but they're celebrities. And you see the guys who we don't really know too much, but like, oh, this guy played 15 years in the league and made X amount of money. You're like, damn, he look like he don't got it no more. Like, what happened? You see what I'm saying? Even
you got to be invested.
Yeah, I don't want, because I love AI, but like what happened there? You see what I'm saying?
What do you mean as far as what?
Allen Iverson, like financially, like in terms of, that's a person who was on TV all the time playing, like he was a high earner in the league. And I know shit went wrong in like 90s, early 2000s. Those were the lessons were learned, I guess. But then I always look at it like it happened to him, but then it didn't happen to Shaq. Or like, who were you around?
Yeah, I think he didn't probably didn't have the right people around him, trusted the wrong people. This is a good point. He didn't have like Rich Paul wasn't popular back then. Now there's like more Rich Pauls, more agents that we could relate to more in a better fashion.
That's true. That helps the things out a lot.
I don't know who his agent was, but I probably wasn't the best.
Yeah, I definitely think players are still are getting over on like the FTX shit, like with investments.
With SBF, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot which players were involved in that, but
Tom Brady was involved. Giselle was involved.
So players still get gotten over on, but I think like with anything.
But that's a perfect example of not truly being invested. Because if you really did your research and did your homework, on SBF and FTX, you would have known. You would have known there was something up.
But that's a lot about investing too. People just go off the names that's already involved. They don't go off the actual product or whatever
service that they're providing. And
they're involved. Okay, let me put money
exactly. And they'll be like, let me put money
That's
into it. But what the real thing about investing, the biggest thing about investing is due diligence. And if you don't take time to do due diligence, who cares if A16, Grayscale, all of these companies, what's the other one? Vision Fund. Shout out to Moshe Son. You got to invest in us next. Just playing. But like, yeah, imagine like companies like that. You just see they're investing. You're like, oh, I'm just going to put money behind it. You didn't do no homework on what the product actually is, what the service actually is. And then you watch your investment go up in flames. Who's really to blame?
At the end of the day or something.
Yeah.
Is it the founder or is it the investors?
I mean, a founder is definitely
Well, obviously the founder has a founder has a role to play in it, but who's really at fault? Because the investors should be the one doing the accurate due diligence before they deploy the capital. Even though you are taking a risk, because venture capital is a risk. It's not like a guaranteed return, but we have to do more due diligence.
Yeah, I also think of it like, yeah, someone took your money because you did bad investments. Damn, how many bad investments did you have? If you have a couple times, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you took all the money you earning, like, 10% of your earnings or 5%. See if you can grow the 5. Because if you're investing with somebody, you took 5% of your $50 million salary, and you couldn't make any returns on it. You maybe shouldn't put any more money or get new people to work with.
Yeah, I think you definitely need to revisit
big sums of money, getting small returns, and putting more money
into it. That doesn't make any sense.
So to your point, saying, all right, they earned all their money from 23 to 30, did investments maybe from 30 to 40. By the time they hit 50, they're broke.
Yeah,
that actually makes a lot of sense, especially not current players, but folks who did it 10 or 20 years ago. That actually makes a lot of sense. And they didn't see it coming, and that's not their fault either, because they were, like, unfortunately, the examples, right? But the current players today, they have those examples, but I don't know how much they care about it, because they make so much more money than those guys. So they probably think that, I'm a guy, I just got a $50 million contract, or I got a $100 million contract. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm good. My family's good, but that's not the truth, though, because you got to think about it. 50 million, 100 million, that money can go fast. And it's like, you got to think about when you get into that position, you're probably the only breadwinner in your family. So now you're responsible to take care of a lot of people.
That's been the Achilles heel of a lot of athletes that make it to that spotlight. And to jump back to AI, I think, didn't he have a deal where his friends got a lifetime deal with Reeboks too?
I have no idea.
Maybe, but I think he's doing something.
Him and Shaq just recently
him and Shaq
became
are like
president and like vice president of Reebok.
Shaq's the president
of the rebrand of Reeboks. This is what Gary Vee was talking about doing years ago. Was talking about getting the old companies and rebranding them into like more cooler aesthetics. Reebok's and they just signed Andrew Reese, the first new signing for the company.
That's gonna be big.
With Shaq at the helm, AI at the helm, they're probably going to go to the moon. You feel me? And now with AI involved at this level, coming from where he was before. But I think I did hear his friends did get like a lifetime deal, or they get paid every year or something like that from Reebok. Something like that.
That's pretty cool. But the sneaker market is weird though. The industry for sneakers, right?
Is it?
Sports for Nike, Adidas. I say those are the big two. I don't even think the sneaker market has a big three. I don't
think so.
In terms of like basketball, football, I'm not talking about like running shoes, but I think for the sports, I think it's just Nike, Adidas.
Under Armour.
I really do think the Reeboks, New Balance, Under Armour, all due respect, they missed the mark, right? Like they had a big no, for real. You got Stephen Curry.
Who else do they have? They have Tom Brady too.
They just signed De'Aaron Fox. Sacramento.
Steph Curry's the only active player with the active player signed to his shoe company. Nobody else.
No, yeah, that's pretty amazing. So De'Aaron Fox is signed to Stephen Curry, like Jordan brand, like it's Stephen Curry brand.
Stephen Curry brand.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah. That is true. I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, that is true. Not even LeBron?
LeBron doesn't have LeBron brand.
Wow, damn. So Curry did. Wow. See, Curry's familiar with the business. That's knowing business. That's knowing business. He familiar with the business.
We're gonna dive into that next time.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't even know that. Okay, so yeah, I didn't even. I'm not gonna say no. I didn't realize it from like that aspect. So yeah, that's knowing the business.
And I know he's the owner in several sports too. I don't even know what sports are, but I know him. He has ownership stake in I think he's doing golf ownership stuff too. Like he's just
he's diversifying his portfolio.
We're gonna have a little Stephen Curry segment. Hey, Steph, come on, guys.
Yeah, I know, Steph. Come on, Steph. My cousin went to your camp and she did her thing.
Oh yeah,
shout out to Shay G-Boye, University of Stanford University commit. She's going to Stanford next year.
Coming to the tree.
2024. She's going to the tree. So Steph, you can reach out to us.
Bay Area.
Yeah.
You feel me?
But okay, going back to the equity thing. So what about Clay? What about Dray? Draymond coming to the office next, talk about where my equity stake at. So how do you? That's what I'm saying. Where do you? Where would that
franchise tags? So only those 3 players would get it, right?
Yeah.
It would be Dre, Steph, and Clay, right? Like anybody else on their roster, Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, even though he's been there his whole career, you're not getting equity stake. We'll pay you though.
We'll pay you good. Yeah, we'll pay you good.
That's a good point. You can't give equity to everybody. Like it's 15 minutes, But everyone has their guys, right? The Warriors have 3 guys. Main core guy's been with them for all 4 chips. Every other team, they switch out players every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like no one has a guy who's been there 15 years on the team. I don't know who else is a Stephen Curry in the league right now. Like Stephen Curry is like
Giannis.
Okay, Giannis will get an equity stake. Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, but like Steph's like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant to me. Like
in the sense of loyalty to a team.
Not LeBron.
Yeah. We'll talk about that another day.
That's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. But yeah, been with his team his whole career, and Clay and Draymond, yeah, they deserve equity stake. But everybody else in the league, no. That's a standard. It's like if you want a piece of the team, you got to do what they did. You see what I'm saying? Like you just can't.
But we got to break it down into like milestones or like actionable items or actionable obtainable goals that the players can reach instead of opposed to just saying like you got to do what they did.
Udonis Haslem should get an equity stake in the Heat.
That is a good point.
Yanni, I think only got 1 championship.
He was there 20 years.
No. Sorry, Udonis. He got 3.
Yeah, he has 3.
He has 3. He's been there pretty much his whole career. I don't know if he was on his team, but
no, he was. I think he's drafted and he played for Miami for his whole career. He actually played longer in Miami than Dwayne Wade did, and it's actually called Wade County. So that goes to show you the type of leader Udonis Haslem was, and the type of impact he had in that locker room. It's bigger than dollars and cents. It was 20 years of service and 20 years of loyalty to an organization. So yeah, that type of behavior or that type of work definitely deserves to be rewarded.
Yeah, there's a
with equity guys. Sometimes.
There's a few guys.
And if any league did it would be the NBA.
I think it's a good place to start.
Because it's less players. 2, they have a bigger pool of money.
And be the most
and the NBA has always been player forward thinking. Like they've always been on the side of the players. And how can we benefit the players the most?
One thing I want to mention about the equity piece is if we're not, these are all sub businesses under the NBA, right? The Warriors are worth $9 billion, but not like the Atlanta Hawks, right? They're valued differently. So it's like if we scale this business together, I should get a piece of the puzzle. You see, like there should be something rewarding because we scaled it up.
Yeah,
I'm not coming in getting $300 million and then asking for a trade in 2 years. Players who do that, I'm for player empowerment, but you're just gonna get your base salary. You're just gonna get the $200 million. That's it, and get your endorsements if you have that.
And
that's fine.
And there's no real growth behind that. Like, we just need to get into more sustainable investments and sustainable things.
Because Stephen Curry in 20 years, right, regardless of his dealings, if he has equity in the Warriors, his money will never go down. Like he could spend all his NBA money. This is a $9 billion franchise. Unless they tank or some shit, but I think Joe Lacob got it under control.
I think so too.
Yeah,
he comes from comes from a very well-versed background in finance and investing and all that. So I don't have any doubts of the Warriors going down. Me personally.
I think Steph is a great example because even when mom used to say like the Warriors used to be like the bottoms, like a laughing stock of the league.
That's true. They
really took that from nowhere to like you said, one of the most valuable franchises in the world. So I think that's something to be said about that. That should be a conversation I feel like should be had.
And you can't really equate that to just dollars and cents.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. What about the coaches portion? Because you got to give a shout out to Mark Jackson, who even said, "Yo, this is the best backcourt in the league," and people laughed at him. So they laughed at him, and now people's like, "This is the best backcourt ever."
So in terms of getting equity for the team.
Yeah, like what was Steve Kerr's portion? Would he be a part of that, or even Mark Jackson for kicking that off, or See, these are conversations that are gonna be like make things a little bit tricky.
That's a good. I forgot about the coaches.
Me too. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did forget about the coaches. I'm like the players are so good and player dominant. The coaches.
I'll bring that up because coaches don't let people shoot like that. Really, you gotta give that person a allowance to do that. Coaches like, yo, come to the bench. You shooting like that. People allow Steph to be Steph. Under another coach, Steph wouldn't have happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we got to give, and the fact that we forgot about the coaches, we have to give more credit to that, because another good example of why we have to give more credit to that is because, just funny enough, I was in a barbershop like a couple of days ago, and we were talking about, obviously, you go to the barbershop, you debating the GOATs, LeBron, Jordan, all that stuff. He was debating all that stuff.
Enough, when I be in the barbershop, I'll be quiet as a church mouse. I don't know why. I always been.
You know, he's just sitting there. People just like to talk and debate about that. So there was one point that I thought about, and it just goes to show you in this point. They were like, because I was like, LeBron has the highest basketball IQ ever. And my reasoning behind that, I'll give you a perfect reason. Look what Jordan and Kobe had. He had legendary coaches. He had Phil Jackson. Yeah. LeBron never had no legendary coach. Give LeBron a legendary coach with the way he plays and how his basketball IQ. I'm pretty sure he has a lot more championships. A legendary coach. That's what Kobe and Jordan had. They had a legendary coach. That plays a big factor into your success.
Of course.
And look how we just forgot about the coaches. So that's why I brought it up. You get what I'm saying? That's why I even brought it up.
And legendary teammates too. But I mean, you got to appreciate what you have.
That's true.
What LeBron has, nobody else in the league has ever had. That people forget this when they want to talk about GOAT status. Nobody is built like LeBron. Nobody has that athleticism, size, and speed, except for maybe Giannis. Giannis is not as big.
We're not doing a good conversation today.
We're not. But I'm just saying, people forget. People leave that out when they want to talk about the LeBron conversation. Like nobody else is like LeBron. You feel me? Like people remember that too. He didn't have the greatest coaches. For sure, even the best teammates, but nobody else is built like that either. Like,
I agree.
Somebody's just walking around 6'8", 260, who could run routes and dribble like nobody's doing that.
But just point in case, the reason why I brought that up is like how we just kind of like forget about the coaches. You can forget about people that play a big role in people's success, and the coaches are people that play a big role in people's success.
No, it's true, because when your team loses in the playoffs, who you blame?
You blame the coach.
David Black.
Get this man out of here. What was he doing?
Yeah, you blame the coach.
Do that substitution? Why is his rotation like this?
Right.
So, I think the coaches should get equity, though. If you're like Greg Popovich, if you're Steve Kerr,
for sure.
Eric Spoelstra, I said his last name wrong, but Miami Heat coach.
Spoelstra,
yeah. Who else? No one else has longevity, though. Coaches, there's
because loyalty is undervalued right now. Like loyalty in all aspects of life. Everybody's just about the quick transaction, the quick come up. There is no such thing as a quick come up. Tell me somebody that came up quickly.
In what regard? In sports?
Anything.
SBF.
And look at him now. Look at him now. He went from $1 billion. He went from $1 billion to $100,000 to sitting in jail, and now he just got convicted of like 5 felony charges. So I don't even want to be SBF. He rose, he became a billionaire, and fell just as fast as he rose. He probably fell faster than he rose.
Yeah, the come up is never quick. The come up is definitely.
It needs to be organic.
Right.
Yeah.
I was even just watching. I'm sorry, the come up just made me go to J. Cole and his whole trajectory, and the Yachty interview, like his trajectory from the interview. J. Cole and Lil Yachty.
I didn't see that yet.
You see it?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I seen clips. I didn't see the whole thing though.
Everybody needs to go. Everybody needs to go watch that. Like J. Cole's always like a thought provoking, visionary. Like, yeah, just it's the dope interview. I have to finish it, but it was dope. But even he told him his come up and how he had to go from like trying to hand Jay-Z a CD to like the next year being called by Jay-Z to come basically come mess with him. Like the come up is just to piggyback off your point. The come up is never, not even gradual, and it's never quick. So it is about hitting events. It is about meeting new people. It is about honing your skills, maybe like a decade plus until you get to that point where you can finally put that into practice. What is it, 10,000 hours? I don't think that's even enough.
Exactly.
Like 100,000 hours.
And to be honest, just even think about it, we can look up the stats. For every startup that's created, they said, you know how long it takes for a startup to become profitable? They said at least 5 years. So you got to give yourself 5 years to become profitable. On average, 5 years. So I don't know where we need to get out of this instant gratification that we see on Instagram thinking that everything comes overnight. No, people are posting what's happening at night, but it's happening over a year's multitudes of nights.
And you're not seeing the struggles and the failures.
Exactly. And you're not seeing the struggles and the failures. People don't post that. Some people do, some people don't. And if you don't, it doesn't, who cares if you do or don't? It doesn't matter. The whole point is we have to all understand that success does not happen overnight. Never have, never will. Unless you hit the lotto. And how often do people hit the lotto? Not that often. So it doesn't happen that often. You get what I mean? Put in the work. Master your craft. Nobody, like my girl Kim K, she was on the thing. She got crucified last year for telling people, yo, nobody wants to work, but everybody wants to be rich. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense to me. How do you want to be rich, but you don't want to work?
Well, because a lot of people have poor working conditions too, so that's part of it.
Okay, and that's something that we can, and through time, make better. But there has to be ambition, passion, and drive behind anything that you're doing. You can't just expect, oh, yeah, okay, I see whatchamacallit started a podcast. I'm gonna go start a podcast. Oh, and then as soon as I start the podcast, I'm gonna get funded for $100 million. No, it does not work that way. What, I don't get what people be thinking.
Yeah.
It don't work that way. Like, you gotta put in the work and be consistent.
Like they said, the reward is the journey.
That too.
You know what I mean?
People always think the reward is like getting funded. No, because actually when you get funded or whatever, that's when the work actually begins.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Like, I think could be an example of that. Like, we're excited just to do the concept of this,
Right.
This podcast, right, or this show. Like, just mapping it out, what we're going to talk about. Like, actually coming and doing it today. Like, I'm chilling. This is like, I'm not even thinking about what's going to happen next year yet.
Me neither.
Like, it's cool.
I'm just like, yo, we're having in the moment, be in the conversations and provide good quality conversations for people to listen in on. And hopefully, eventually people will want to be a part of. Like, I think that's what it's about. That's the whole point. That's the whole aspect and the whole point of social currency is to have these type of thoughtful conversations and then get people in on it. And then now that becomes your social network. And then it could turn into currency in some form of way. We already talked about different forms of currency. So the whole point is having a social interaction with people of various backgrounds and getting to know people. And that's what it's all about.
Listen a minute. At the end of the day, whether we believe it or not, we all in this together.
Facts.
We're all interconnected. And we all, out here just trying to make things better than what we found. Like, we wouldn't have this opportunity if the people before us didn't create the conditions for us to come out and try new things. Before us, they had to go to work. There was no other options. There was no entrepreneurship. That's why entrepreneurship is big now, because we have options. It wasn't like this before. They had to go to the factory. They had to go clock in. There wasn't no entrepreneur. Go to the line. What do you mean? The assembly line. So we got to give thanks to people that came before us that allow us to get to this this space and, keep taking it, moving it forward.
And that's why paying respect to people that come before you is so important, because people, especially like these, I'll take you maybe particularly in the music industry, especially with these newer artists, they try to say like, oh, what are these OGs talking about? These OGs are irrelevant. Yo, without those OGs, there is no you. Like Jay-Z would say, would you rather be old me or new you? I think I'd rather be old Jay-Z than new you. You get what I'm saying? So we have to pay respects to those people that kicked down the door for us. You know what I'm saying? Those people paved the way.
And that's why y'all got to see the Yachty interview with J. Cole, because that's how like they started. Because Yachty talked about how, because Yachty's really rapping now. I don't know if people really expect him. Like, I'm not really surprised because I kind of been watching him. Like, he's really talented.
And shout out to Alabama State. Yachty, we both went to Alabama State. I know you left like for after a semester, but we both went to Alabama State. So shout out to you for going to Alabama State.
But he said he started rapping. They played when it's like the third song he ever made. He said he started rapping in like 12th grade.
Yachty?
Yes. So like before he went to Alabama State, he just started rapping. And then he hit big like 2 years after that. But then the special thing about it, that's why he's special. After he got success, he didn't just coast on it. He went back and he said he started doing the homework of the people who came before him. And that's where he got the appreciation to go start getting better at his craft. So he took that. And then J. Cole had a similar experience where he was like, I don't really mess with the new school. That was the perception. But he had to go back and learn like, nah, this is, even though I was raised to mess with the bars and lyrics, I have to appreciate the new school for what they nice at their own thing. So I gotta appreciate them for what they have. Just their mindset help them become a better artist and a better, and I think that can help any person walking the earth. Just the switch of a mindset, they don't gotta be the way I think it was supposed to be. But I gotta appreciate them for what they're doing because they're special too. And that's talent too. Even though it's not what I was raised on, but that's talent and they need to be, maybe not at my level, but they need to be respected. And he learned from that, and that's why he's still maybe the top guy right now.
Completely agree. So that means you got to watch the Cole and Yachty thing, and make sure y'all watch after. I was about to just say that after y'all watch the new Social Currency show. This is the first episode. This is what we're about.
In Austin, Texas.
On site. We move around, change locations. YA Studio. Shout out to YA Studio for blessing us with this space. Sure. Blessing us with, just giving us the opportunity.
Let's have Allie come talk about what she does for a little bit. With YA Studio, what she does. Yeah, I'm going to get up and come talk right a little bit.
Oh my goodness, you guys, this is how the podcast goes. Shit.
Yeah, we have Allie coming on.
That's why I'm here.
Entrepreneur.
Hello.
Her studio.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Allie,
giving me so many shout outs.
Thank you. We appreciate you. You gave us the space. Without you, there is no space.
I'm so excited to have you guys here for your first episode. That's epic.
Thank you.
So good. It's going to be so good. I'm listening to you guys. I know you have something good here.
So I know it's kind of about us right now, but I wanted to focus in and then kind of just talk about, what got you into this? Like, what motivated you to start this, and where do you see yourself?
It's a long story.
Hey, we got time for it.
I'll give you the Cliff Notes. I started my podcast in 2020. It's called Young Adult Path to Progress. Young Adult is where YA Studio comes from. I launched it in 2020, and I knew that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Podcasting, talking to people, like having real, deep, meaningful conversations.
Love it.
And it was challenging getting started and not having access to like quality equipment, having a space where I can have the quality video to make the marketing materials that I needed to have a podcast do well. And when you're getting started out and you're trying to compete with like the Joe Rogan, the Call Her Daddy, the Dear Media Studios, like if you don't have that quality, it's just a very steep uphill journey. So my idea kind of came to me 2 years ago to put a studio together in Austin because there wasn't anything like this. A lot of the bigger cities like New York and LA have them. So I know that you guys will find something close to home. But Austin is like such a hub now, and there just wasn't anything. So I knew if I was having an issue finding it, other people are having an issue finding it. So started the process, put together a business plan, went through the Small Business Administration and got a small business loan. And
Shout out to the SBA.
Yeah,
Shout out to SBA
is where it's at.
Shout out to SBA.
I honestly, as an entrepreneur, just getting started, it was my first time really dabbling in creating something to this scale and needing the funding from the beginning. I didn't really trust angel investing. I looked into angel investing. There were a lot of websites that say that they're going to put you in touch with different investors. to me, that felt kind of sketchy. And I also just don't want other people to feel like they have a say in what I'm doing. I had a very specific vision, like down to the way that the space is going to smell, the colors I'm using. Like, I had such a wide vision, and I didn't want anybody else to come in and try and shape that vision to what their vision is. So I knew that the government was kind of a safe route to go. I knew I could pay it off in 7 years. You know, it's kind of like getting a car loan, except for you're making money.
Exactly.
So many people were like, oh my God, you're taking out that much money, like so scared for me. But it's like, you take out that much money every day for a car.
Exactly. Or a mortgage.
Or a mortgage. And that's not going to give you, you know, your car doesn't appreciate, your home does, but your car, the moment you drive it off the lot, you're losing money.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I decided to take the risk on myself. I moved home for 6 months last year and got a full-time job because to get a loan, you need the W-2. Had $12,000 of credit card debt I had to pay off as well. So I moved home to my parents, stopped paying rent, got that W-2, went through the process. I went through the process of the loan twice. I got denied the first time. So I went through the process again when I was living at home, got approved for the loan, and here I am.
Love it.
Yay.
Exactly. And then you see how we were talking about things not happening overnight. And it taking time, like, because I think now in the day, and we live in this day and age, obviously we consume so much information, we see so much things that everybody just thinks that, oh, I see a podcast just got started, I'm gonna go do the same thing and then I'm gonna automatically get funded like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work like that. You know, and I have so many people reaching out to me now saying, oh, your life is so cool. Like, this is so sick. How'd you make it happen so fast? Like, you're blowing up so quickly. And it's like, I even catch myself saying, I can't believe how well I'm doing so quickly. But the reality is it's 2 years of work that, sure, I've been open for 3 months now and the business is doing great. It's paying for itself. But it wasn't 3 months of work that led to that. It was 2 years of work. It was going through the business or the process to get the loan, getting denied the loan, and pushing through and still believing in my vision, still believing in myself, and doing it again. And yeah, entrepreneurship, it's a lot of work, but it's so rewarding to be doing your own thing and to be able to give a space like this to other people, to give them an opportunity to facilitate conversations that are meaningful and other people are going to learn from is just like the coolest thing.
That's an amazing story. And it shows about the foundation.
How you build it, right?
Your legs, like what you're going to stand on, and how you can scale up later. Maybe there's just gonna be multiple of these. I don't know what your vision is.
Exactly.
The hope is maybe one day. Maybe we expand to some other cities. I don't know. I think that I'm gonna play out, see how this first year goes, and then who knows what it becomes.
I did want to ask, just to give you a little bit of background about yourself. So I know you said you went home. So Austin is not home for you?
No, I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, and I moved to Austin in 2021. My boyfriend lives here, and we kind of started seeing each other during COVID, and it was like long distance I was living in New York City at the time. It was long distance for a while. And when my lease was up in New York, we were like, okay, let's give it a try, and I moved out here. So
that's where we're originally from, New York. So.
Oh, yeah. I love it so much. I miss it every day. But I don't think I would have been able to do something like this in New York because New York is so established. Like when you're in New York, you feel like you're a part of something that's been there for a while, and you kind of really have to build a name for yourself before you could really go off and do your own thing. Austin is such a unique place because it's booming right now. People from New York, people from LA, like everyone's moving to Austin, all of these creative people, but Austin doesn't have everything yet. So when you live in Austin right now, you're in a unique position that you can create something big, even, you know, if you're just getting started. You know, I'm 27 years old, so.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that's motivating too, because that just goes to show like you're young and you have big aspirations. And, you know, that's something I think young people need to see and have hope for. That you can do big things and you could want to aspire to do big things, and
we all should be.
Exactly. And just the way you're talking about it makes sense.
Yeah.
The young adults, like the young adult concept.
Yeah.
How that plays into
I started the podcast Young Adult Path to Progress because the beginning of my career was super bumpy. I graduated in 2018. I got a degree in broadcast journalism, and I wanted to go into entertainment news. Moved out to LA, got a job working in entertainment. It was for a digital-based company, and 9 months in, they laid everybody off because they couldn't afford it to keep the employees on. And then I moved to New York after that, and I was living on a friend's couch, and the job that I got was so fucking random. Like, I was doing social media for a engagement ring company. Not at all down like the broadcasting, path that I am really passionate about. But I just wanted to be in the city. I was just like, LA is too far from home. New York is like where it's at. So I decided to move to New York, take the first job I got. And it was so toxic. It was just like the people that I was working with were just not great people. And like I said, I was living on a friend's couch, and I came to this like crossroad where I either needed to sign on a lease or I needed to sign on a lease. I needed to get off her couch. Yeah. So I realized that if I signed on a lease, I would be stuck in a miserable job. And I decided to leave the job. And that was a really hard decision because when I lost the first job, a friend of mine said, the next job you get, you better keep for at least a year so you don't look like a job hopper. So the second job I get, it's so toxic, I decide to leave. I didn't want to get stuck in an expensive lease in New York. And then I was like, okay, let's try this again. Run it back. I got another job in New York 3 months later, and I got laid off right before COVID. So within a year of graduating, I had 3 really big falls, and I had to pick myself back up and try again. And I think that that's why I have the courage to go out and start something, because I learned from the very beginning that nothing, they say that getting a 9-to-5 is stable, but nothing is stable.
Nothing.
You are just a number. You are, so easy to throw out when it comes to big corporations. And taking a risk on yourself is no bigger than the risk of taking a risk on someone else's job or someone else's company, So I took a risk on working for someone else's company, and I was laid out on my ass after 9 months. So that's kind of where my path came in during COVID. I knew I wanted to start a podcast, and I don't think I knew what it was until I got laid off that third time. And I was like, why aren't we talking about this? I'm sitting here so depressed, so down on myself, thinking I'm a failure, but I'm only 23 years old.
Exactly.
And
so much life ahead of you.
There's so much more ahead of me. And also, this is what being in your 20s is about, is trying, failing, figuring out what you want to be doing. And that comes through the failures. You don't know what you want to do until you try a lot of things.
Facts.
So, I like I said to you guys earlier, when you're in your 30s, it's really easy to be like, yeah, your 20s suck. It's all about figuring it out. But when you're in your 20s, it's just kind of taboo to talk about. So I wanted to create a space where people could come on and talk about the struggles that they went through to get where they're at, struggles they're currently going through, and just be really honest and open about what being in your 20s looks like.
And I appreciate you for being honest, because the story of being on the couch and being on your friend's couch and really saying, hey, I got to make a move to get out of this situation, and especially in a female's perspective, I don't think I'll see a lot of female be honest about that stuff like that they went through. And that just goes to, I'm pretty sure that experience is going to, give you that grit to keep going in your business. And the funny thing about it is, just like how you were saying, is part of your 20s or part of just growing is you're gonna fail, but you actually need to fail to know how to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah, it hurts to fail though.
It does.
It sucks so bad. I can't tell you how many people they shelter themselves from failing so much, and then they wake up unhappy though, because they haven't found what their passion is. It's if you're constantly working at something that you're not passionate about, just trying to stay safe, you're not going to find that. You need to get out of your safety zone. And adversity is really where it's at for that, to get that grit.
Exactly.
And to get that resilience, you have to go through adversity. And to your point, I I didn't get the loan because they saw my business plan and they were like, this is the best business plan I've ever seen. I got my business loan because they saw that I had that resilience. So the underwriters were like not so sure about this because this is such a niche business. Yeah. They haven't seen this before. So I really had to sell them I like did Facebook ad campaigns to prove that there was a market for a space like this in Austin. And my lender, because I had been working with her and came back, and she was so impressed by that, she went to bat for me. And that's why I'm here, because I had that resilience and because that's what it takes to be a business owner.
And you just hit on something too that I think a lot of this our new generation doesn't value. You just said that somebody went to bat for you.
Yeah.
And that just talks, and that goes to show you the value of relationships. People are so quick to do that cancel culture.
Yep.
Oh, I don't agree with you. F you. I'm not talking to you no more. Baby, or just baby, boy, girl, man, woman.
Whoever you are.
The world don't work like that.
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
No.
Because the same person that you think you could disrespect is to be the same person that's sitting at that desk that's saying, "Hey, you getting greenlit."
You want to know the best thing? I haven't talked about this on a podcast yet. The company that fired me right before COVID, it was a PR firm in New York City, beauty PR. And when I did my launch party for this space a week and a half ago, we had a bunch of different vendors giving us free shit. So we had like Popeye sandwiches. We had, like I said, we had Zate, which is a new company, sponsored the whole event. We had Austin Plastic Surgeon. We just got all of these different companies involved. And the person who came to drop off the Popeyes, because the PR firm I worked for does PR for Popeyes. So the person who came and dropped off the Popeyes was someone from the PR firm that fired me 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, look at me now.
That's crazy.
You fired me 3 years ago.
Now you're coming
Thank you for
board.
that.
Exactly.
And now you're coming and you're delivering me some Popeyes for my launch party.
See, so that goes to show you that resiliency and grit is important, and the value of relationships, and also the value of a good name.
Yeah. I mean, you really don't want to burn bridges, and your reputation 100% matters. Like the way that you
100%.
treat people at the end of the day that's your legacy. And that's what people are going to want to work with you, is when you're treating everyone with the same respect and you are excited for other people when they're succeeding. And that's what it's all about. And that's kind of why I love this business, because I get to sit here and cheer other people on when they're doing cool shit.
That's fire.
And that's what it's all about. It's just like this saying. It's like right now we're in the arena, because there's like this famous saying that like the people, or like how LeBron's you say like the man in the arena, that comes from like the I forget which president it is that talks about this, but it comes from the quote of everybody's goes to see the gladiators and everybody has an opinion of the gladiators, but the real coverage is the gladiators because they're the ones that's standing in the arena. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's easy to be a spectator. It's hard to stand in the arena and be a gladiator and fight. Mm-hmm. And everybody that comments and says like, hey, what are you doing? Why'd you start that business? What are you doing? Those are the spectators. Mm-hmm. We're the gladiators that's in the arena. And
when you're starting something on your own and you're going out and you're doing the damn thing, people are always going to have their opinion. I think most people agreed that the idea for a studio like this was a good idea, but almost everyone I spoke to was scared about the idea.
Why? Is this because it's unknown?
Taking money out, which I didn't even take out that much money. I took out $35,000. It's not, But people were so scared, like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Or I told them how much my rent is every month. And they're like, oh my God. But it's like, you gotta take chances. You gotta spend money to make money too.
Of course, that too.
You know?
That grit that you had when you were on the couch.
Yeah.
And the vision. That's the big thing.
It's the vision.
It's the vision.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to see your vision like how you really see it until you really make them understand what you're seeing.
Yeah, and you stand out. It's like when we were looking for a space to rent, this was the one that popped up.
I
You know what I'm
appreciate
saying? Like,
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Darren for finding this.
No, no, shout out to
And those
Darren.
weren't even good pictures yet. I realized when you went and you had to inquire about this space, I realized I hadn't posted like the professional pictures that we had taken. So those are just
That's
like,
actually okay because I looked hard. I was
Yeah.
I was telling them, no, trust me, it's gonna be nice. Like she had a great description. You could tell.
oh my gosh, that was ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what. Shout out to Chat. See, at least
Technology.
Technology. See, she's adapting. She's learning how to make the technology work
She
for her.
leveraged it.
You leverage the
Leverage it the right
technology.
way.
I love it.
You know what? You
love
gotta
it.
be efficient sometimes when you're
love
running
it.
a business.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
The tone was perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I like that. Okay.
Super responsive.
See, it
Yeah.
all comes back to tech. You see how
You
everything
gotta
always
be
circles back.
responsive. You have to respond quickly.
And you see how everything comes back to tech. Tech, right?
Everything is full circle.
Full circle. Everything
No,
comes back to
honestly,
tech.
getting into AI is like, that's where it's at right now.
Facts.
I don't know what I'm talking about tech, but
She said, "I don't know what I'm
no, but
talking
I do feel like
appreciate it.
AI is like the next. It's the boom. I mean, we're in it, but
We're going to talk about it on here in different ways it's used,
Yeah.
applications, and we'll dive into it, make it sexy and exciting so folks actually understand and it's not just like AI fluff.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of that. It's a lot of that out there right now. So
A lot of fluff about it. A lot of misinformation about it.
interesting.
It's definitely, but one thing I will say, and one thing that we do have to be mindful of, is definitely something that we have to understand and have to be aware of, because it is a powerful technology.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it is a powerful technology, but I think if we put positive solutions and we find good problems to solve using it, we'll be surprised at about the amount of things that we can solve using AI.
Yeah.
But we also have to be mindful of the harm it could affect if it gets into the wrong hands as well too.
And I think that comes up with any new tech boom. I
That's
think
true.
that was a fear with the internet when the internet was coming out, you know? So I think that with any kind of new technology like this, like I said, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think that there has to be some, I don't know, legislation or something, laws put in place. Like look at what's happening right now with the SAG-AFTRA strike.
Yeah.
You know, my sister is an actor. She hasn't been able to work in months
That's
because
crazy.
of the writer's strike. And then now SAG is still on strike and they want to use people's likeness in AI and pay them $200. And, oh, we can use your face, your voice, and you for anything that we want to for the rest of all of time. And you get $200.
Nah, so yeah, that's something that, you know, I wanted to talk about that, and I actually was talking to an Uber driver about this before I came to Austin. Actually, funny enough, when I was on, we were talking about the strike, and something I think that actors need to think about or need to articulate to the studios is that, hey, we'll work and we'll act and we'll do everything, but you cannot use AI to replicate our likeness to profit off of.
Yeah.
Or if you do that, we need royalties behind that, or we
Exactly.
need a portion of that. If you're gonna try to use our digital format of us and profit, so there just has to be like like kind of like you were saying, like legislation. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Lawyers have to get together with actors and understand how they want to draft up that language. But in particular, when it comes to AI and acting, actors need to be on the forefront that, hey, if they are going to use AI technology that is replicating you in a digital format, cut us in. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all you have to put into the language of the agreement.
Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's I think where things are at right now is they understand the gravity of what that could be if it's not in there the right way. You know, if you're not having those discussions in the right way. So yeah, technology is
It's
crazy.
it's coming fast, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be positive. And yeah, it's gonna be positive, and we're trying to shed light on the positive that it's gonna bring.
yeah.
Not everything I know, and it's just like the world that we live in now. Everybody likes to sell fear and promote fear, but
No fear mongering here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not fearful people. We're
Promoting fear like that is a very weak headspace to be in. And
Exactly.
we are very powerful people.
Exactly. And we want to make positive change. So in order to do that, you have to think positive, and you can't belittle people. You can't put people down. It's okay to maybe not agree or see eye to eye with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean I have to disrespect you. That doesn't mean I can't not talk to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to disagree.
We're
It's actually
allowed to.
healthy. To be honest, it's actually healthy to disagree.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we don't want to live in a world of groupthink.
Exactly. It's actually healthy to disagree.
Yeah, that's the best way to grow as a human is
Exactly.
to have people that you disagree with and have mature, respectful conversations about what you don't see eye to eye on.
Everything, we wouldn't have this podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it
would be a boring podcast.
Exactly.
If you
And
didn't.
then having a mature audience is about being a young adult, going back to YA. So we have to be able to be young adults, mature adults, have sane conversations with tones at normal levels. And it doesn't have to escalate into anything bigger than that, even if we do disagree.
Yeah. I love it. I'm so excited for you guys. It's so good.
Thank you.
Thank you for this space.
Yeah.
I probably
Thank you
think
for hopping on too.
Thank you guys for coming to this space and for seeing it and appreciating it and letting me share my story.
Of course. Thank you.
Sorry, I took your hot seat over here.
You look better than me, so.
Yeah, you were awesome. I think this is a good start. And stay tuned to see what we got in store. We're gonna have a lot of things coming, a lot of people coming.
Yeah.
She was a surprise.
She was.
So
None of
just
us knew this was happening today.
just think about who we can really get on here. We didn't. We asked her. Did we tell you to come on here, or did
No,
we
but
ask?
I'm glad I put makeup on.
We didn't even ask. So it's just on vibes and it's all natural, organic.
Yes, that's what it's about.
It all came together organic. We didn't force anything. We didn't script anything.
That's what podcasting is.
We
That's why it's the new medium. Yeah.
exactly.
Come out and free speech.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the best. Why don't you come in, get your seat back, and you guys
And then we can end it.
Yeah.
We can end it.
Wasn't expecting that. A phenomenal story.
I know.
was great.
Your story was
All
actually.
aligning very well. I'm comfortable now.
That was the clip notes.
So she's like, there's like a lot more to my story, but no, this is the type of conversations we need to start having, and we need to start bringing people in on,
Yeah.
especially people that align with what we're doing when it comes to like venture capital, building communities and building businesses, and collaborating with people.
Y'all really gonna see how the ecosystem really move, and it's definitely gonna be a narrative changer.
Facts.
Yeah, you just want to make the world a better place, man. Community. We all need each other. We all here for each other. So it's a team, man.
All right, episode 1, a social currency.
Social currency to show.
The Social Currency Show. Don't miss out. Wow.
Don't miss out. Don't miss out.